Hey guys, RetroGamingManiac here, and in today's video we're going to be doing a review of a game called the Fireman for the Super Nintendo. Now the Fireman originally was only released in Japan, Australia, and Europe, and never saw a US release. So what we have here is a reproduction cartridge. And I actually got this at a local game store, and the owner of the store said that there's a company, that basically brought these in and sold them to him. And that company is called the Super Repro Bros. And basically, it's just like the name says, they do reproduction cartridges. They bring some games over, like Clock Tower on the Super Nintendo, and games that normally weren't released in the US. They also do hacks and everything, but they have really good, high-quality reproductions. This is one of them. The cart feels very heavy, very solid. They did a very nice custom paint job here. As you can see, it looks like flames. Some of the cartridges actually melted. So just very cool. Has a nice texture on the back. See the burn there. Very cool. They did a great job. And as of now, you can't order from them online. They're only doing like local sales. But if you're in the Atlanta, Georgia area and you go to a retro game store, you can probably pick up some of their games. But anyways, enough about the cartridge. Let's go ahead and get to the review. So like I said earlier, this game was originally released in 1994 by Human Entertainment, and it was not released on the Super Nintendo, unfortunately. And it's a real shame because this is actually a really good game, and it's one that I think would have done really well in the US, and I'm kind of surprised it did not come out on the Super Nintendo. So basically the story is this: it's Christmas time and a fire breaks out at the chemical plant Microtech. And it's up to you and your buddy to go in and try to put out the fire and to save the civilians. And while you're in the building and while you're putting out the fires, you're accompanied by your buddy, the AI partner, Daniel McLean. And McLean is actually a very useful partner. He can help put out fires, open doors, carry off civilians, once you reach them. And he's actually very, very helpful. And it's kind of a shame that this game does not feature multiplayer, because to me it would have been the perfect opportunity to have some co-op gameplay. Two players going side by side, putting out fires and rescuing civilians would have been an awesome gameplay experience to me. But nonetheless, this is still a very good game, even with the fact it's only one player. The controls for the game are pretty simple. Use the D-pad to move around. Your character has two different kinds of attacks. You can shoot like a straight blast, it's like a high pressure blast. And you can also shoot a blast at the floor that's more of a shower effect. And the shower effect is good for getting the smaller fires that's right on the ground. But you also have one more attack, and that's going to be a water bomb. And you have, I think you start with 2 or 3 of them. And you can throw those, and it's basically just like it sounds. It will go off and take out fire in most of the area. Works really good against bosses, but make sure you don't use them throughout the level if you can help it. Now speaking of the levels, the game is divided up into stages, and each stage takes place in the same building that's on fire. It's just different floors and stuff. Each stage has different kinds of fires you have to put out, different environmental effects you have to worry about. The bosses that are at the end of each stage are basically just fires, but they're different kinds of fires with different patterns, different things affecting them. Like one of them is a robot that's on fire, and he's like moving around and zigzagging because he's on fire, so he's going crazy. And you just have to learn the patterns, try to avoid him, hit him with the hose to kill him. So I know it sounds kind of bland. You're like, okay, all you do is put out fires, but what really makes this game great is the music, the graphics, and the characters in the game. The characters in the game make the game feel really alive. I'm really impressed with the AI character, Daniel McLean, that follows you around. He really does a good job. He's very useful, and it kind of helps that he's so useful, because, like I said, it would have been nice if it had co-op, but even without co-op, he does such a good job by himself helping you out. So, but still. Now, the stages, like I said, each have a boss, and each boss is like just a different kind of fire. You have fires that are low to the ground, you have fires that are kind of, mid-level, and then you have some fires that come over your head. And with the fires that come over your head, you have the ability to hold the B button, I believe, and you can actually crawl on the ground. And crawling on the ground not only helps you avoid those upper level fires, but it also lets you crawl under obstacles and navigate through different parts of the level. So that's another good thing I like about this game. The controls are great. You can also press R, and when you press R, your character will get locked, pointing his hose in that position. So let's say there's a fire and it's moving back and forth, and it's going to be hard to hit. So if you hold R, your character will just be locked into that direction, and then you can, like, you know, sidestep back and forth and, you know, get a good vantage point on the fire. So it's really good. I like the controls in this game. The graphics are really good, surprisingly good for a Super Nintendo game. The music is, you know, it's nothing outstanding, but it's very catchy. It doesn't get old, and so they did a pretty good job with the music. And the characters that chime in and, you know, give you your missions and everything make the game feel just so alive. So it's a game I definitely recommend. I haven't beaten the game yet, but I've gotten pretty far, and from what I can tell now, it's just a great game. I've tried to get as far as I can, but I just keep dying. That's another thing I need to tell you about, is you only get 3 lives, and once those 3 lives are gone, that's it. You have to start all the way over. So I probably will be using the Retron 5 save state feature to finally beat this game, but your character takes, as you can just see, he takes damage from explosions. If he gets too close to fires, he can take damage. And, you know, it takes a lot to actually kill your character. The life bar works pretty well. But you can also replenish your life bar by saving civilians. And if you look at the top left corner of the screen, you have a time limit. Each level is about 10 minutes, between 6 and 10 minutes depending on the level. And normally I don't like time limits in games, but with this game it works really well. It gives that sense of urgency. You know, the building's on fire, there's smoke, it's shaking, you got a time limit. And then also, if you look to the right of the time limit bar, there is a little gauge, and what that is a heart, EKG rhythm basically. And when you get close to a civilian or somebody, you know, that needs your help, that's going to start going off, and the closer you get to that person, the more it'll pick up on the EKG. So, you know, you find the civilians, pick them up, and once you rescue them, you get about 50% of your health back. So it really makes it to where you really do need to search the levels, put out all the fires, save as many civilians as you can, and have that nice full life bar for when you get to the end boss, because some of those bosses are pretty hard. But all in all, this is a great game. I really enjoy this game, and like I said, it's a shame it was not released in the US. It's one I think would have done really well. But thanks to the guys like the Repro Bros, we do have other options. You know, emulation, of course, and we also have reproduction cartridges. So thank you guys at Repro Bros for making this. You did a great job. I haven't had any issues with it. It does work just fine in my Retron 5 with the latest update, and I can totally recommend this game to you guys. You know, go online. You might be able to find the Japanese copy or, you know, the PAL copy pretty cheap. So, alright guys, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.